I was gonna tell you that today is my favorite day of the garden season, but I think that almost every day I come out here, I think, oh, that's my favorite part of the garden season. Really, I just love it all. But today is the day that we are gonna start sowing our seeds into the garden. Doing this means that in a week, 2 weeks, the garden is going to look drastically different. We're gonna be putting in our corn, our beans, our winter squash, our cucumbers, all of the seeds that I like to direct sow, except for my summer squash because I already have it in and most of it is already germinated. Everything that I direct sow into my garden is ready to go in today. This is going to take me a couple hours, so we will see how much I get done. I may have to continue this on another day, but I'm going to get to work and get this garden planted. We're going to start off by planting corn. To do that, I have this area behind me. It's kind of like an in-ground bed area. We threw the last of our compost in that area, but the soil there isn't great. The compost isn't fully broken down. So I purchased some compost from Walmart that I'm just going to top that area with, and then I'm going to get to planting. I ended up with 9 rows. I'm going to go in with this peaches and cream sweet corn. Avery is, there she is. Avery's going to plant this for me. She loves working in the garden. I don't typically grow corn. I have grown popcorn the last several years in little blocks, but you need quite a decent area for the corn to get good pollination. And I've never wanted to give up that much garden space, but my daughter, my oldest daughter, Olivia, has begged and begged and begged that I plant corn, so it's gonna go in the garden this year for her. The next set of seeds that I'm going to put in is all of these. This is a big bunch of seeds, and they are all going to go along my cattle panel trellis that I have. My trellis consists of 6 different cattle panels, and they are 4 feet wide, so I have about 32 feet on each side to plant on. I like to do 2 different varieties per cattle panel, so 12 per side. Depending on the size of what I'm planting, depends on how many plants I will put into each each plant gets half of the panel. So depending on their size, decides how many of that plant I will put. For something very large, like zucchini rampicante, I will only put 1 plant per half of the trellis. But for something smaller, like pole beans or pickling cucumbers, I'll put 3 to 4 per half of the trellis. So I'm going to show you what I am planting, and then I'm going to get to work. I have these sorted in the way that I am going to plant them. So I have this long trellis here, but I also have another trellis in another spot of my garden that just has 1 cattle panel. On it, I am going to be able to put 4 plants. So it's going to get zucchini rampicante, sweet dumpling winter squash, rattlesnake beans, and Ashley cucumbers. I have never grown these Ashley cucumbers before, but I was talking to an older gentleman, which is one of my favorite things to do is talk to older people about their gardens, because they have so much wisdom and advice to share, and I am just a sponge. I want to soak it all in. And he said that these Ashley cucumbers were the best cucumber that he has ever grown. So they are going into my garden this year, and hopefully I have as much luck with them as he did. Here on this long trellis, I'm going to be going in with Kajari melon. I grew these last year, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't like them at all. They weren't sweet, and they didn't have much flavor at all, but I've heard rave reviews over and over and over and over. So I'm going to give them another try. And hopefully this year I'll have better flavor. If not, I'm going to ditch them and not grow them again. I think this will be my, I can't remember if this is my second or my third year of growing them, but they have been a no for me so far. So I'm willing to give it one more try and see if we can get some good flavor out of them, because so many people say how sweet they are, and that hasn't been the experience for me. So hopefully we can change something up this year and have a good little melon. They're so cute. They're like fist-sized, really colorful, pretty melons. So fingers crossed. Next, I'm going to go in with some Lazy Housewife pole beans. These are new to me as well. Some Dragon's Egg cucumber. Petite Gris de Rennes melon. I think I'm saying that right, but I could be completely butchering it. Spaghetti squash. 2 types of yard-long beans, a purple one and a red one. I have grown these every single year in my garden for about 4 years now. They produce so many beans. I've heard that they don't can well, although I have never tried, but we really enjoy eating them fresh. I like to make like homemade Chinese food a lot, and these are delicious in those meals. Delicata squash, Armenian long cucumber, butternut squash, Marvel of Venice beans, lemon drop watermelon, muncher cucumbers, loofah gourd, which I'm so stinking excited for this. Loofah gourd is something that you can use to eat when they're very small, but that is not my plan. I am going to let them get full size, dry them, and then make a homemade soap with my calendula leaves and soak these in them and make little soap bars. So I'm super excited for this future wintertime craft. Petite yellow watermelon, scarlet runner pole beans, a Honey Plus hybrid cucumber. I got these because last year I had cucumber beetles, something awful in my garden, and I got very few cucumbers. Almost all of my plants died from bacterium wilt, and although I am prepared this year to desiccate those stinking beetles, I wanted to get a cucumber plant that had some natural kind of immunity towards those, and so this is what I went with. If all of my other cucumbers fail, hopefully at least I'll get a few of these. Trion Flow Violetto pole beans. These are really pretty, like pale purple color. Watermelon hybrid, Armenian cucumber, Hale's Best jumbo watermelon, Ayanaga Jabai. This is a Japanese cucumber, and I have heard it said many times that Japan does cucumbers the very best out of all of the countries. These are supposed to be super sweet, super crunchy, and not get bitter with the heat, which is something that is super important here because we do have really hot summers. I have grown Japanese style cucumbers before, and I've always had good luck. I haven't tried this variety, so I'm really looking forward to it. Homemade pickles, Wisconsin pickles, and to end it, the Succotash sweet melon. So all of these plants are going to be growing on this trellis, and it is going to be gorgeous in just a few months. I cannot wait to start harvesting all of these delicious foods. Now, you may have noticed when I was telling you what I was planting, and I told you that that's the order that they're going to be planted in, that I didn't say all of the cucumbers, and then all of the melons, and then all of the beans, and then all of the winter squash. I like to really interplant everything, so I don't want cucumbers beside other cucumbers. I don't want melon beside other melon. One, because it helps me to remember what I have planted in that area and what I'm harvesting. So I don't want my pickling cucumbers to be beside my longer cucumbers, because it helps me to remember, hey, these are pickling cucumbers. Pick them when they're small. But also, I don't want all of one type of fruit or vegetable to be in one area, so that they can withstand that pest pressure a little bit. If they're all together, then the pests are like, hey, my dinner's right here, it's a feast. But if they have to kind of scout them out, I feel like they have a better chance at success of growing and producing. Also, I just really like the way it looks when I just have a mixture of everything growing in this trellis. All right, let's go ahead and get to planting. You can see that I have sugar snap peas still growing in these areas, but I am gonna go ahead and just plant behind them. Sugar snap peas only produce until it gets hot. So these are gonna continue to grow as these germinate. And then by the time these are germinated, these plants will probably be pretty tall and starting to flower. And then I will get my harvest as these continue just to grow behind. When these sugar snap peas get hot, they will start to die back and they will start to not produce well. And at that point, I will pull them off of my trellis and let the plants that I have planted now start to take over. That's a really great way to succession plant and make sure that your trellis is being used at all times. If I waited to plant these plants until my sugar snap peas were done, I would still have plenty of time to grow them because I live in an area where we have a really long growing season. But my trellis would have nothing growing on it for about a month. And so I want to make sure that I have something always growing and taking up this space. Alright, I am going to be done for the night. I have both of my trellis areas completely planted with seed. I still have a bunch of bush beans that I would like to get planted, but I am tired and I'm not going to do those tonight. They will come another day. I had a friend come over in the middle of while I was planting, and although I knew we were supposed to get rain, I didn't realize quite how much. She said we were supposed to get about 4 inches of rain over the next couple days. So we desperately need rain here. I hope that we do get those 4 inches, but I'm going to be praying that my beds don't flood and that all the seeds I planted stay where they are. Hopefully it'll be a nice slow rain, not like a torrential downpour. I feel like our weather has been completely wrong lately, so anything that they forecasted has been the opposite of what we got. You see how, look how beautiful and sunny it is today. It was supposed to be full on clouds all day, and we've pretty much had, for the most part, full sun. So I don't completely trust that we're going to get those 4 inches of rain, but we will see. And if we do, I will just be praying that everything I put in stays in its place. If not, I have extra seeds and I'll replant. No big deal. Really quick, I want to show you, last week I put some squash and zucchini and some bush bean seeds in my containers and a few in the ground, and most of them had germinated. So let me give you a look real quick. These ones are just starting to come up, but these ones look great. As they grow, I'm going to be removing one and just leaving one plant per pot. That one's not up yet, I replanted it. That one is up, and then we have our beans are starting to really do lots of popping through. I planted my beans in these rows of lick tubs this year. I think that's going to make for much easier harvesting, so I'm super looking forward to that and hoping that it works out really well. But thank you for being with me here today as I got all of the seeds planted. I'm super excited to see them germinate. It's funny, I've been doing this for years, but every year I'm like, oh, is it going to work? Are the seeds going to germinate? They always do. They always end up coming up for the most part. But just that waiting in between is kind of nerve-wracking. So I'm glad I have them in, and I just am so excited for the garden season this year and to see how incredible the garden is going to look. Thanks so much for being here along with me on this journey, and I hope to see you back next time. If you like this video and you want to keep on watching with me as this garden grows, if you like to see growing and harvesting and preserving, this is the place to be. So go ahead and like and subscribe so you make sure and see all of my other videos.